Well, hello, happy witching hour. It is High Priestess Jamila. How are y'all this evening or this witching hour? Um, I'm going to talk about a subject that I haven't spoken about in a while because I've been extremely busy. And I will admit that I have avoided this subject because um, for some reason, people worry about other people's money and they think like for a while it was a big deal. It was a big deal. Every single time I would come on here and talk about generational curses, and talk about the ritual that I offer to clients to break those curses, every freaking single time it was like just complete and total meltdown by people that aren't even spiritualists. It was like, do you not understand that like we don't do the same thing? I don't know. It was very, very strange and weird. And I'm not even going to get into why that was happening. I'm not. But goodness gracious, I had to cough something up that had just been like parlaying. Goodness. So I wanted to come and talk about the generational curses, and we're not going to focus on whether or not, because I think that the haters, big time, they put a lot of emphasis on that particular ritual, even though they could use one of those rituals, like obviously. But believe it or not, the generational curse breaker is not my most expensive ritual. Actually, when you think about it, my most expensive ritual is the lottery work that I offer, as well as home buying. Because with the lottery work, it's cheap to cast it, but then when you win, my spirits and I'm expecting 6% back from what you win. Okay. Or if it's like a court case to where like you're suing somebody for a certain amount of money and I'm going to expect 6%. Okay. It'll be cheap to cast it, but then when you win, I get 6%. Okay. Yeah, it's very simple. Okay. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this because when you look around the world, you see a lot of zombies, and it is very, very, very alarming. It is very, very scary to people who are the most aware. People that are very aware, people that are very psychic, people that are very empathic, it freaks them out because what ends up happening if you don't break the generational curse, what ends up happening is that whatever entity, and we're not talking about a demon, we're not talking about the Goesha, we're not even talking about those spirits. We're talking about whatever entity you were sold out to unwittingly and unwillingly that you really don't know and probably can't really trust. Whatever that entity is that either your parents or your grandparents kind of either sold you to or signed you up for, they come in to collect. And it's either energy, it's either emotions, it's you, it's just the sheer enjoyment of seeing you in torment and fear and knowing that they can control you because you're too damn ignorant to fucking understand what the hell's going on. Okay, it might just be the sheer pleasure of controlling you and your mind and what the hell you're doing and what's happening to you. Okay, So the main aspect of the generational curse reversal, well, removal, it's a remover, it's a breaker, it's a contract rescinder, it's a contract revocation, is what it is what I do. Okay. Because basically, when you're born, somebody says, "Hey, I don't know you. I don't know your family, but touch my baby, baptize my baby. I don't really know what we're baptizing this baby to, but I'm going to do it anyway because the world says that this is what we should do." And then you do it. And then 20 or 30 years later, most of those people, their lives are fucked up. They're on drugs. They messed up. I don't mean to cuss on the Witches Broom channel. I've been cussing a little bit. Let me pull back. Yeah, I can. There's better ways of expressing myself. I'm sorry. The F word is probably going to be my biggest vice because that word is like, I don't know why I like the F word so much. So, you know how when things start happening cyclically and rhythmically, and it's just like, why the fuck is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this person doing that? Why is that person doing that? Why is my uncle doing that? Why does my uncle or my aunt or my mother or my father or my sister or my brother, why do they always do that? Why is it so cyclic and rhythmic and stupid? Why is that? Why is it so stupid? I'm going to tell you why. It is because when I do the generational curse, revocation, when I do that, I am freeing you. I am freeing your mind and your body and your spirit from whatever chains that you are in. Okay. And so basically, what ends up happening if you don't actually have that ritual or know anything about it, because a lot of people say, I'm Jamila, screw you. I'm not going to pay for that ritual because I'm cheap. And we don't like cheap folks. We really don't. Cheap sucks. Cheap people sucks. Cheap people are not good for the economy. Okay. But basically, because you don't want to pay for that ritual or you feel like it's bullshit, what ends up happening? You end up caught up in that same thing over and over and over again. Even if you are aware of it, what ends up happening is that whether or not you like it or not, you are still in those chains. The only difference is that if you are aware, unlike others, unlike many others that are not aware of what's happening, you just end up pissed off and upset, ready to unalive yourself and ready to unalive other people. Okay, so that's what ends up happening because every cell in your body, everything in your mind, everything belongs to this particular entity that came in, and your parents ignorantly enough said, I'm going to give my baby over to this entity that they don't really know what the entity is, just simply because they put the face of Jesus on it, which is actually Jesus. The way he looks to me is a rendition of there's a painting that one of the painters did, but they put Jesus's name on it and they tell you should trust it, and then whoopity wham boom bam boom. Okay. So the generational curse removal revocation revokes that. That's what it does. Whatever entity you were sold to, that is pretty much has mapped out your life and said, this is destiny for you. One thing I want to explain to whoever is listening is that us witches don't really believe in fate. Some of us do, but we believe in fate to a fault. Okay. So I think that probably the way that most religions, and it doesn't matter, Even if you were like sold as some kind of slave, and this is not about black people because every single race has went through slavery, including white people. Okay. So this is not about slavery. But if you are sold into like a spiritual bondage or slavery, religion really has nothing to do with it. It can be any religious right. You could have been, initiated into something that may involve Wiccanism or either paganism. It's very rare. I'm gonna be honest with you. Rarely have I had somebody come to me and say, "Hey, you know, I was raised Wiccan, I was raised pagan, and my parents sold me to this God." I've never had that happen. Mostly it is the other gods, okay? And so you being aware that you are not in control of your life. Why is that? Why is it when you try to take control back, why do you still not have it? Because there is a contract. So, those of you that don't really understand that now, you do. Now, is there another way of going about it without paying High Priestess Jamila the amount for the generational curse reversal revocation? Yeah, it is. Um, it's a process. It's a process. And I'd say the quickest and easiest way to get through that process would be by forming a pact. I understand that there are a lot of people that are afraid of themselves because they don't know themselves, and that's what makes you afraid. A lot of people, when you say the word demon, they automatically get scared because they really don't understand what demon is or what a demon is. To basically put it in layman's term, a demon is knowledge. When you break it down, okay, when you break it all the way down, a demon is knowledge. Okay, it's wisdom. A demon represents education spiritually. Okay, so a lot of people get afraid of that, and you know, but they still want that spiritual freedom. They still want that, but you're never going to have it because the contract has not been revoked. Most of these contracts come in through religions, Christianity, Catholicism, as well as Jehovah's Witnessing. And this is the reason why, even though you will notice that people will have a lot of sense and sensibility, they still will go under mind control. As long as you have that contract on your head, as long as you have it, you are going to be subjected to mind control. You're going to be subjected to doing things outside of your will, having things happen to you that are outside of your will. Okay. So that's why the Gen Hex removals, revocations are still very important. My spirits wanted me to come on here and talk about this because they are tired of placating, and we're not babying anybody anymore because of the pocket watchers. The pocket watchers decided that they knew everything. They were at all levels, but now it's time for people to know because it's starting to get really bad out there. And people are not being helped. A cleanse is not going to free you of generational curses. Okay. Maybe a series of cleanses over a course of 10 or 20 years, possibly. But at some point, the work has to be done to revoke whatever contract is on you. So, what a lot of people with these generational curses are experiencing now, even without telling me, is feeling like they're watched. They're very paranoid. They're very paranoid to the point of schizophrenia, to the point of mental illness symptoms, is what's happening. And that is because whenever that unforeseen force wants to, it can grab your mind. I actually did a video on it of the guy that they just recently let out of prison in Florida, who unfortunately had to be put down by the police. And he was saying his name was Yahweh or something. It was very bizarre. And that guy was under mind control. Now, I personally feel as though your religious God is factually aliens, unknown aliens. I don't even think they're reptilians. I think that it's aliens. So I did a video on that probably several months ago. I'll put that video on the Witch's Broom channel. Okay. You know how most people walk around and when the truth is pointed out to them, they get sick, they get a cognitive dissonance because the truth hurts. If you have that contract on you, any kind of truth, anything that's meant to set you free is going to hurt you bad. And setting yourself free is not, those religions are not a part of this earth or our existence. It's just not a part of it. But, so spirit is opening the door to people that are ready to get up out of that. Okay? And, it's been a lot done to try to oppress that, but people have still been coming to me and getting generational curse revocations. People will always come to me and get generational curse revocations. Okay. Somebody's going to watch this video and they're going to contact me to get a gen curse revocation. It just is what it is. It's not, and it's not even about the money, but it's not cheap to get that ritual. It's not, and it's not me that's doing it. I get tired of being scapegoated on as a witch. I didn't create it. I didn't create you. If I didn't create you, I'm not responsible for whatever the hell it is that you're dealing with. Your parents created you, didn't they? Okay. They're the ones that signed you up for whatever it is that you are dealing with, not Jamila. Jamila has nothing to do with that. I'm just the messenger. Okay. I'm not even the messenger. Let me quit saying it like that. So that's the whole point of that. And it is very alarming and very scary to a lot of people. Um, in fact, just recently in my hometown, which was very alarming to me, uh, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and then there was a murder. There was a shooting right after at the parade where they were celebrating the win. And so it's like I said, it's very alarming because as we draw closer to the summertime, the zombies are going to come out. These people have death intention. They have an intention of death. They're under mind control. And those are the people that have went far, like they have went. Those people are zooted. They're gone. Even if they're on drugs, that's still drugs can be a part of the generational curse. Okay. So we can say, oh, well, they're doing that because of drugs, but why did they do drugs? Why did they do drugs? Okay. So that's what that is. And I am 100% a real witch. I don't run a cult or anything like that. But it's just that I am a high priestess, and from what I gather, the workings that I do for people are very important. Okay. It kind of, so that is one important thing. It really is. And I'm not trying to put ideas in people's heads. That's not what I'm doing. Okay. That's not what I'm doing. What I am doing is being very honest about it, because I still see people who are really, oh man, that, and the scariest part about it is that a lot of those people with those generational curses on them, they really don't know what's real and what's not. And then they want to make up what they think is real. But like, if you were all standing in a room with somebody and a person said, "Hey, everybody in this room is holding their arms above their heads," but everybody in the room can see that clearly that's not true. Okay. Uh yeah. So that person is that person delusional? Right? Kind of like that Twilight Zone thing where that lady was everybody remember that episode of Twilight Zone where everybody had pig faces. Everybody had pig faces, and she was the only one that didn't have a pig face, and it just was very strange to her. She was like, what is going on? She was freaked out. So it's kind of, one of those things to where, what is reality? Well, I mean, a lot of people have absolutely no idea what reality is. And here's my whole thing about it. And I'm going to say this. And, if anybody wants to take this as shade, they can. But, um, if you're here to get out of that, then great. If you're here to do what you have to do, then great. But I guess you can't say this is shade. What good is it gonna do for you to know that rappers in Hollywood or black men in Hollywood are bending over to take it for fame? Like what what good is that gonna do you? Like, okay, and I know that they throw in and they met with kids and stuff, it's like, well, that's unfortunate, but you can't sit around and not do what you need to do spiritually just because of that. Like, we can't just stop living. We can't just stop existing because of things. And I know that the spiritual community, especially when it comes to the black area of the spiritual community, has really been what's the word I'm looking for? The word that I'm looking for, poisoned. Blacks, a large portion of black people have been pretty much poisoned. And there's a lot of spiritualists on here. There's a what's the name of that young lady's channel that I watch? Because a lot of the not all of us witches on here offer spiritual work. I'm just so happen to be one that does. What is the name of that? There's there's Black Witch Yaya, and then there's another one called the Black Cauldron, and she has a really interesting channel. But I am one that does spiritual work for people, and I help people, and that's what I've been doing since 2015, proudly. Okay, and I haven't gotten not one rip-off report yet, so I know what I'm talking about. And so a lot of you guys I already know have tried to do it their way, and their way clearly didn't work, did it? Hey, Adam. Their way clearly didn't work. What they told you clearly wasn't the truth. The moment that you get that contract off of you, basically every curse though is like a contract, but the generational contract goes much, much deeper. And you do have to have a relationship with the underworld in order to do that. Now, is it a relationship like as a witch? Is my relationship with the underworld hate? Am I going to talk about the underworld and the spirits in the underworld from a disdain point of view? No, I'm not. That would be silly because we work with them. Okay? We work with them. I'm not going to come on here and say, "Oh, I am a speaker for the underworld, but yet I'm calling on Jesus. I'm calling on Jesus, but I'm a representative of the underworld." That makes absolutely no sense, and that's dangerous. And you know, I and then most of the time I see certain people on here that like to compare themselves to me just because we have different views and but they're talking about the underworld as if the underworld is responsible for pedophilia as well as rappers in Hollywood having sex rituals. Um, yeah. So it's been a lot, In fact, y'all know I don't talk about celebrities at all. That's not like the bee's knees of anything. I don't have any celebrities that have a problem with me because I don't talk about them. I do work for common folk. I do work for the people. Okay. So I'm not a celebrity witch, even though I do think that there have been times where I've done work for celebrities. I'm not a celebrity witch. Okay. I'm not. And I'm not a part of that. I don't have nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't trying to necessarily. It's not necessary. It really isn't. It's just so that's why I didn't really understand, as I was seeing some people trying to do some underground rituals on me, and I was like, "What are you doing? I will totally call to Shaitan and destroy you. Like, what are you doing?" And I'm serious, y'all. It's totally ridiculous. I'm telling you. And so yeah, or Shiva. Another word for Satan is Shiva. Satan is also Shiva. If y'all didn't know that, okay. Shiva is a manifestation of Satan. Okay, and I believe it. I read it somewhere and I said, you know what, that makes sense. So, makes a lot of sense, especially being that Satan's day is Monday and so is Shiva. So, I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I've been threatened. My family has been threatened just simply because I'm running a business and I'm not talking about anything different from any other spiritualist on here. I guess the only difference is that I'm black, which the hell difference does that make? And it ain't even racist people are not attacking me. I mean, it may be like maybe one or two, but I mainly caught a lot of flack from the black community. I'm like, really? Like, it's just so bizarre. Like, mind your business, mind the business that pays you. Cause I mean, if you out on YouTube and you're selling a product or something and you come to Jamila's channel or you go to anywhere, if you are a witch and you're offering services to people and you go to their website and you're like, "Oh, she's charging a lot of money and that's going to make me lose money." Well, guess what? Nobody should come to you to get work done at all. Nobody. Because to me that would denote you being a fraud. Like, really, seriously, come on now. So that would denote you as being a fraud, wouldn't it? It would, because you're basically saying, I'm not actually connected to spirit, is what you're saying. Is that you're not connected and this other person is somehow going to take money out of your pocket? That's why I didn't really understand all of the spiritual war and going back and forth. That's why I didn't really understand it. Okay. I didn't. And I still don't understand it. I still don't understand why people that are of a totally different genre are even focused on me. Like, what are you doing? Like, and it's because they're confused, and it's okay. They'll get their clarity. They'll gain their clarity, you guys. So, if you guys are just now joining, I'm not going to repeat what I said. I'm going to go because I've been here 30 minutes and that's long enough. You can go back and listen to the beginning. And if you have to listen to it over and over again to understand, um, then you can. Okay. But basically, what I was saying in a nutshell is that the reason why you have no control over your life and things are happening that you don't want is because there's a freaking contract on you that says you don't have control, and you've been praying to it all the time. You've been falling prey to it as well all the time. Keep in mind that trickster spirits can, like, I've seen a lot of people, some people think of Jesus as a demon. Some people don't trust Jesus. They're not going to say it publicly because, but I've seen trickster spirits mask themselves as Jesus. It's so weird. Like it happens all the time. And so and I've actually been witness to a ritual that was done to where I felt Jesus's presence. I don't have a problem with Jesus Christ. He don't bother me or try to stop me from doing what I'm doing. Okay. Um, I don't necessarily invoke his spirit though. You know what I'm saying? But I was there for an invocation. And I knew that wasn't Jesus because Jesus's spirit is very, very calming. It's very healing. And it's not that what I felt. What I felt was something else. But then again, people confuse bad energy with conjuration. People think that, I mean, I have me, myself, and I have done rituals to where I can feel the spirit, but the spirit that I felt was unsettling. None of my rituals have ever made me feel unsettling. And if they did, it was because it was probably a bad spirit that I needed to trap. And I haven't felt that way since Santa Martha taught me how to trap spirits. I haven't experienced that. Okay, so a lot of people get it confused. You know what I'm saying? And so basically, what I was saying in a nutshell. And the reason why this is coming up around the Sabbath is because that is when this spirit goes into gear. Nobody is actually benefiting from it, not really, except for people that are at the hierarchy of those things. And I had a family member that I was staying with years ago when I moved to Georgia, and they couldn't even get their pastor to help them with their light bill. I was like, really? And I think they kind of sideways low key blame me because they knew I was practicing witchcraft. So this is a pastor of a church that somehow didn't help you with your light bill because of me. Like, and what happened? Did my spirits possess them? Which they could, but I wouldn't do that to my family. I wouldn't do that. But it's like, but this is supposed to be a pastor of a church. This is supposed to be somebody that shouldn't be able to be afflicted. And if they are afflicted, why is it always the devil? This is what I don't agree with when it comes to religious people. Take accountability for your messed up actions, bro. I don't know. I don't believe in that. Okay, it just is what it is. So anyway, but go back and look at that. Go back and listen. It's somewhere in there. The messages that Spirit had. They've been wanting me to come on here and give you guys this message. Otherwise, it's just gonna, people. I've had a lot of people who tell me, "Oh, you're bullshit, this and that," but look at them now. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't got, they're still miserable. Who the hell wants to be miserable pretending to be happy? You know what I'm saying? And I didn't do that. What the hell? It's just, it is what it is, and people get mad when they find out what you said was the truth. It's like, really? So it's my fault? It's very bizarre. And trust me, I don't sit around and stalk nobody. I don't sit around and bother people. You know what I'm saying? I don't target people. If I got to do work, I will. If I have to do work on somebody, just like the other day, there was like a weird sexual assault that happened. I'm not going to really go into detail about how, but there was a sexual assault that happened to me. If I did work on that person, then do you blame me? Nope, because he's disgusting. These people are disgusting. I was looking at Super Sly, and oh my God, he was playing this video by this one guy and at the end of his show, and I was just like, what the fucking hell? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. If you don't know who I'm talking about, he's not a spiritual vlogger or anything, but it was just interesting. The dude at the end of the live that he did and the crazy crap that he was saying, which was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he was acting like somebody was trying to force him to have sex with older women. Like, are you okay? I'm gonna tell y'all exactly. If y'all go look at what I'm talking about, I'm gonna tell you exactly what was Homeboy's problem. It's got to be some kind of trauma that's within his family. Somebody older, like maybe an older woman, may have done something to him as a child. You know what I'm saying? Because this dude was talking about, like, the way he was talking, he was trying to act like somebody was trying to force him to be with an older woman. Nobody's trying to force you to be with an older woman. Now, we don't want you to go out there and mess around with and violate young girls. No, don't do that. But he was acting like, yeah, and I'm gonna get a younger woman, and you should go to a younger woman's father and tell her that you wanna mentor his daughter, his young daughter, and teach her how to be a wife so that you can marry her later. Now, there are some dumb fathers that would go for that, but there's a lot of fathers that will pull out their shotgun and tell him to get the hell away from their house. But the way he was talking, he was so angry. There had to have been some kind of SA as a child, because it's like, hey, listen. He's like, if a woman, then he said, oh my God, y'all. Then he said that a woman, by the time she reaches the age of 30, she's had a whole bunch of partners. Not everybody. Not everybody. Talking about the older a woman is, the higher her body count is. And I'm like, wow, like, what kind of situation is this? But I'll be 47 this summer, and trust me, I'm not trying to run nobody down and force them to be with me. If anything, I get stalked by people that say, hey, Jamila, I'm not attracted to you, but yet I'm stalking you. Okay. I didn't ask nobody to be. I didn't like it's just so weird. But you could tell that homeboy, like, clearly there had to have been an older woman when he was younger that may have done something to traumatize him. Maybe. I'm not saying that that's what it is, because he was acting like, yeah, they trying to make me date older women. Like, no. He said, if a woman is 30 or 40, I want to know how old you are. I got the right to know how old you are. It's like, okay. He's like, you might be going through menopause and you're worthless to me. What is menopause though? What is that? What is menopause? What is menopause though? What is that? What is menopause though? 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 What is menopause tho Who believes in that? Like, y'all believe in that? Like, that's so sad. Y'all believe anything somebody tell you. Somebody could tell you that the sky is falling and you believe it. Goodness gracious. But it's just like I'm like, and that's just like when you see like, you know, a black man, right? And he's like, I don't want to date black women. I want to date white women. Okay, well, brother, go date some white women then. You act like somebody trying to force you to be with black women. It's bizarre. Like, people torture themselves. Trust me, Satan doesn't have to torture you. You do it yourself. Y'all, I see it all. I just be observing, and it's so funny to me. It is like it's not funny to me when I see somebody that I care about going through it. Just injuring themselves all the time. It's so bizarre, y'all. I can't with these people, I'm telling you. But yeah, the original message of this video, if you go back, you'll hear it. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe. Okay? And if you guys are interested in the bloodline curse revocation ritual, go to my website. Okay? Link is below in the video description box. I'll see y'all later. Okay? Blessings. Bye.